was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Jews that it was better to have one person die for the people. Simon Peter and another disciple followed Jesus. Since that disciple was known to the high priest, he went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter was standing outside at the gate. So the other disciple who was known to the high priest went out, spoke to the woman who guarded the gate, and brought Peter in. The woman said to Peter, "You're not also one of this man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the slaves and the police made a charcoal fire because it was cold, and they were standing around it and warming themselves. Peter also was standing with them and warming himself. Then the high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Jesus answered, "I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple where all the Jews come together. I have said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who heard what I said to them. They know what I said." When he had said this, one of the police standing nearby struck Jesus on the face, saying, "Is that how you answer the high priest?" Jesus answered, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify to the wrong. But if I have spoken rightly, why do you strike me?" Then Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. Now Simon Peter was standing and warming himself. They asked him, You are not also one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the slaves of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, asked, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Again, Peter denied it, and at that moment, the cock crowed. I've done it. I don't know about you, but I've denied the truth when I didn't want to face the consequences of it. And I don't mean that small stuff that we all do as kids. I mean the serious stuff we do as adults. And like Peter, we don't think it will come back to bite us. We think we can get away with it. But if we're lucky, it does come back to bite us. If we're lucky, we won't get away with it. Lucky because we received a chance to turn away from a way of being that takes us away from God. Lucky because we've been handed a mirror to our behavior. A mirror that shows us how others see us. Lucky because we have an opportunity to decide if we like the way we look in that mirror, or if we want it to change. If we are lucky, we will all hear a rooster crow when we are wandering too far down the path that leads us away from love and caring and towards callousness and hard-heartedness. We are lucky, but we will not be without pain, because we have to acknowledge that others were hurt when we denied the truth. Not only do we feel the pain of admitting that we lied, but we have to acknowledge the pain our lies cause others. For Peter, he had to acknowledge that he had hurt his friend, Jesus. Jesus, the one who would have done anything for him. Peter turned his back on when he needed him the most. But it isn't just Peter who inflicts pain on Jesus. When we turn away from the truth, we turn away from the keeper of all truth. We think we'll get away with it, and perhaps we do in the moment. But one day, Jesus will hand us a mirror of our lives. And the pain we will experience then is directly correlated to the pain we turn away from now. May we all pray to be those who are lucky enough to hear the crow of the rooster. Listen to a poem by Lucy Shaw entitled Judas, Peter. Because we are all betrayers, taking silver and eating body and blood and asking, guilty, is it I? And hearing him say yes. It would be simple for us all to rush out and hang ourselves. But if we find grace to cry and wait, after the voice of mourning has crowed in our ears, clearly enough to break our hearts, he will be there to ask us each again, do you love me? When we fail to speak honestly for the sake of our own advantage, forgive us, God of